Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities we may have today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis as always, so if you're interested then please stick around. Right, so as usual we're going to start off here on the daily. We have EU on the top, DXY on the bottom. Let's talk about the daily analysis some more, right? Let's get our daily bias going. I'll give you some idea into how I'm getting my daily bias. So of course I discussed the structure in our previous video, right? So we've taken some external liquidity. This is our new low, right? I've just labeled it here as that external liquidity now as well. Created this leg, broke market structure above these swing highs, these internal highs, right? And then of course we've retraced somewhat. Now from these lows here, we've had a bullish week so far. 3 bullish candle days, Wednesday leaving behind a imbalance, a fair value gap here on the daily. So I'm just going to zoom in slightly. So I've got that fair value gap here drawn out. So yesterday what I wanted to see and what I expected was a possible retrace back into this area. Obviously that didn't need to happen straight away, but I thought we look bullish. Now if price wants to retrace, right, because we had opened up and was having a bearish day, this should hold as support if we are possibly going to continue bullish. Okay, so that was my bias for yesterday. I want to see this area hold, right? If price comes down into it, and price did. Price mitigated this imbalance here, this fair value gap, and ultimately closed rejecting that. So that's good. So that leads me to my bias today, where I was saying the daily already looks bullish, gave us that sign with the market structure switch there after us being so bearish. We're obviously in a discount of that larger structure there. We've rejected that imbalance, and now today you can see we started off bearish somewhat, but now price, that's fine because price needs to manipulate something, get some sort of sell side liquidity sponsorship, head the other way. So we're actually beginning to start to move bullish now that London's open, so we'll see. But my daily bias at the moment, right, is for us to continue bullish, having rejected this imbalance here, and start to head for any internal liquidity highs and buy side liquidity sort of swing highs, like this high here, then this high here, ultimately, which would be our week high. So that is my established sort of daily bias for today that I believe, right? So if I just zoom out some more, you can see how powerful obviously this sell side liquidity is, because if I scroll down, right, we were pretty much in this sort of large range here since the end of 2022. So now when we broke out end of 2024, right, going below those lows into 2025, where we've taken that low in January, that's when we broke market structure. We're in the discount of that move there, and price may head higher. So that's the sort of larger picture that I see. Of course we could head lower. We also have POIs down here. But given just the daily bias for our day trading, of course, we've rejected this zone yesterday, and we may head higher for buy side liquidity today, because price is either going to move from an imbalance to another imbalance somewhere, or an imbalance to liquidity, right? So we may head for that buy side liquidity now. So that's my daily bias, a bit more advanced than usual, but hopefully that was clear for you. Same with yesterday on DXY, we had swept that buy side liquidity above the previous daily high, also into an imbalance. Didn't mitigate the whole thing, but clearly the imbalance was powerful enough and the buy side liquidity was powerful enough to push price in the other direction and close out. So after all of that buy side liquidity swept up here, price may continue bearish, heading towards that previous weekly low as well for that sell side liquidity. So I hope that was clear. Any questions, just let me know in the comments. Now before we move on, it's obviously NFP Friday, so there's no telling what price is going to do. It may consolidate, right? It doesn't have to continue this possible bullish run, right, today, or it could just reverse on news. But that is my bias. That's why I'd be trading in London if possible, and New York itself I would probably just stay away anyway. So it's Friday and it's NFP. So let's move on to the 4 hour, see what that looks like. Now on the 4 hour, this is where it takes some confidence to obviously go with the daily bias, right? Because we can look bearish, okay? I don't deny that. We have got this leg lower, we've taken buy side liquidity, we have SMC divergence, right? But what I'm relying on is that daily bias to possibly push through, in that we mitigated this zone here, which was a daily imbalance, okay, and it's also a 4-hour fair value gap as well, an imbalance, and that was mitigated to about 50% or just beyond as well, and price has rejected it, but it wasn't the most energetic response from it, so we'll see. But again, yes, I can see that we may possibly be bearish here from the 4-hour against that higher time frame daily bias maybe. So we'll see, because this was quite a corrective pullback, okay, but we are finding possibly support here, and at least in the short term anyway, we may head for that buy side liquidity, like I said, off the back of this. So we only need to catch that one move, right? We've rejected this zone here, we may continue bullish to liquidate some buy side liquidity, and then we'll see what happens from there. Buy side liquidity high here, buy side liquidity high here, and even this short term one probably above Asia, this would be here. So the 4-hour was more of a mixed picture, as you can tell, because of these other higher time frame drivers where we've taken buy side liquidity SMC, and we had made a bearish leg downwards. However, now we found some support around this zone here. We'll see what happens as well, okay? I'm mainly going to be using the 1-hour during the intradays, but this was also a 4-hour support level here as well. So we're relying on further structure shifts, especially on the lower time frame. Like I said, we're bullish at the moment. We'll see how price goes. We'll see what the internal price action looks like here. We're obviously rejecting imbalances here again on the 4-hour internally, right, which is giving us those resistances, not making it too easy for price to push higher. But we'll see where price goes, okay? We just need to be patient. Again, it's NFP as well, but we have this daily bias possibly on our side, at least in the short term. 4-hour, bit of a mixed picture, possibly bearish. Let's go down to the 1-hour. Let's see what that looks like for us. So the 1-hour picture, obviously it's not going to be too indifferent from the 4-hour. Of course, our most recent price action was bullish. Okay, was making those higher highs, higher lows, all the way up to these highs here where we took that buy side liquidity, had a retracement, okay, which was very corrective. There was nothing special about this price action here. Back down to this daily 4-hour and 1-hour sort of liquidity void here, right, where we have all of these fair value gaps. We mitigated this one somewhat as well in the middle here, but of course, yes, we have 1-hour order block below as I've drawn out here. So if we do revisit that in the future, let's say we have a further pullback today at some point or into next week, we can revisit this zone here to see if there is any support, right? This was the only zone here left behind on the 1-hour that wasn't mitigated as far as I can tell, right, while we was making this bullish price action. Okay, so this is the zone here that may be revisited at some point, of course, to be balanced. Actually, let me go through yesterday's price action. You can see we dipped down into that order block, swept that liquidity finally, and that gave us that bullish push, coming above these highs for some buy side liquidity here. And then overnight and into Asia, look at this, we've made a trend line liquidity, as you can see very clearly there. Price is beginning to come for that liquidity possibly, and at least to these short-term highs here, right, price may seek out that buy side liquidity. So ignore this ob for now, but yeah, possible ob if we pull down into it, but it's not the most high probability ob because it doesn't have a fair value gap there anyway. So price clearly seems to be finding some sort of support here because we've taken sell side liquidity. This is below Asia lows, so 8 o'clock lows when the Asia kill zone area here. We've swept those lows and we're getting bullish momentum from that. So we may see price come to liquidate this trend line here, right, looking for buy side liquidity, continuing that order flow from yesterday's high time frame POI, and possibly continuing that daily direction, that daily bias to come for more buy side liquidity. Okay, we have those negatives below here, of course, so we'd like a nice strong reaction out of here possibly if we're going to get involved, or wait for a continuation to come for these highs. But these look like some easy short-term targets as well. All right, sell side liquidity on our side, some negatives below, like I said, but possibly the continuation from this zone here. So the 1 hour is similar to the 4 hour, but we can see a lot more of that bullish price action, how we came out of this zone with that liquidity sweep, and we can see a nice trend line forming here and a sweep of liquidity below here, which we'll see clearer on the lower time frame. So yeah, we'd have to trust our high time frame daily bias, okay, but being aware of these negatives as well if we want to go for those longs. So price action could be better. What would be nice maybe is if we bullish breakout, leaving behind a fair value gap for us to revisit as support as well, okay, and to hold this support and then get involved. But we'll see how price pans out. I hope that isn't too confusing. Probably getting a bit more advanced with the analysis today, and I don't want to confuse, but let's go down to the M15. Let's see what that looks like for possible opportunities today. M15, I do want to go with my daily bias, right, because I do like the fact we mitigated that POI and eventually broke out exactly as I expected, which was great. We had that New York sweep of those London lows and eventually broke out, but it's a bit messy, it's very choppy. I would have loved nice clear structure to come out of there. Now again, at the moment we've pulled back M15 order blocks here and whatnot, but we've swept down below Asia, as you can see, into this order block, okay, so taking out the sell side liquidity below these lows and these lows here, and then price got the momentum and has now broken structure above this swing high here on the M15, this internal high, as you can see, sweep, break of structure, all right, we're getting some bullish momentum, okay, and we're coming for buy side liquidity above Asia. Then there's this buy side liquidity and this buy side liquidity here as well. So price has broken out. I would have loved to have seen an M15 order block with imbalance, right, a nice clear one. Of course we have an array here, and that could hold as possible support when price revisits, if it revisits, okay, but I would have liked to see a more clear and traditional order block, right? At the moment I don't see anything that I would prefer to get involved in. Of course we can leave fair value gaps and some people enter like that, and of course we also have, you know, like I said, that array there, that would be an order block too, and potentially price is going to revisit this area, find some support, and then continue and take out these highs here. So what I would maybe wait for, so I can get something that I like to see, is for price to possibly do this, come back to this area, then break above wherever the high is made, okay, and then we get a pullback to a nice clear order block with fair value gap on this lower time frame here for me to get involved in. So sort of continuation, right, rather than this first breakout, revisit and come back. So I'd want to see another market structure switch or break of structure, okay, an actual order block with fair value gap form, and then we can set an order with stop loss just below the lows, okay, safely below that order block, buy side liquidity wherever those highs may be, if these are still intact, or that ultimately previous daily high as well, where these highs are stacked as well for buy side liquidity. So something like that would be good. We may get inducement right above our order block as well, and we can aim for something like this. So I would like to see something like that, maybe to give me more confidence. So I hope that was clear. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, just let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.